gentlemen. I mean, they weren't assholes. They were nice men, but they were hardcore. They were hard-working men.
Sam Elliott's deep, gravelly voice has become a legend of its own. Powerful, grounded, and soaked in that raw Western grit. But behind the mustache, the cowboy hats, and that slow, steady swagger hide something few ever talk about. A quiet fury that's been simmering for decades. Across his 60-year career, Sam's earned the kind of respect most actors only dream about. Yet there are 6 names he's never forgiven. 6 people who, in his eyes, sold out the craft, disrespected him in silence, or played fake when they should have been real. For years, he bit his tongue, smiled for the cameras, and let it slide. But at 80 years old, Sam's done playing nice, and when you hear who's on his personal blacklist, your jaw just might drop. The first name? Kevin Costner, the so-called cowboy Sam just couldn't stomach. For Sam Elliott, authenticity isn't a word. It's a code. Every line he's ever spoken, every glance he's thrown on camera comes from a place of pure, lived-in truth. Sam didn't just act like a cowboy, he was one. Raised on ranches, shaped by hard labor, dust, and discipline, he carried the West in his bones. You could hear the saddle leather in his voice, see the wind-carved years in his eyes. So when Hollywood crowned Kevin Costner as its favorite rancher, from Wyatt Earp to Yellowstone, Sam wasn't buying it. To him, Costner was just playing dress-up. Polished boots, perfect lighting, a man reading lines written by someone who'd never set foot in mud. "He's pretending to be something he doesn't understand," Sam once told a close friend. That one quote says it all. While the world praised Yellowstone for its sweeping beauty and gritty tension, Sam couldn't care less. To him, it was all too glossy. A postcard version of the Wild West, made for city folks who'd never felt the sting of real wind or the ache of a long ride. He didn't see truth in it, he saw marketing. And when insiders later revealed that Sam was offered a cameo in Yellowstone, his response was quick and sharp. He turned it down without hesitation. No hesitation, no regret. Because to Sam Elliott, the West isn't a brand, it's a way of life, and he'll never stand beside someone he thinks is faking it. His words were short, sharp, and final, like a man slamming a saloon door shut for good. This wasn't just about a script. It was a stand, a quiet rebellion wrapped in denim and grit. To Sam Elliott, Westerns weren't about glitz or glamour. They were sacred. They stood for honesty, loyalty, and the kind of silence that said more than a dozen fancy speeches ever could. To him, the West wasn't meant to sparkle, it was meant to scar, to shape, to mean something real. But Kevin Costner's take? Too polished, too Hollywood, all shine and no soul. Sam saw Yellowstone as a beautiful mirage with no dust under its boots. When the two men ended up in the same room, you could practically feel the air drop 10 degrees. One producer even said, "They never shouted, but the silence between them could freeze a desert." That cold tension was just the beginning, though. Then came The Power of the Dog. In 2021, Sam Elliott dropped a verbal bomb on Hollywood. He tore into the Oscar-favorite film and its star, Benedict Cumberbatch, with zero filter and zero hesitation. There was no careful phrasing, no sugarcoating. It was the kind of criticism that echoed like gunfire in a quiet saloon. For Sam, this wasn't about pacing or camera work. It was about authenticity, something he lived and breathed. Benedict, a refined British actor with a polished accent and perfect posture, had no business, in Sam's eyes, pretending to be part of the rugged American West. And Sam made sure the world knew it. He didn't just critique Cumberbatch's performance, he mocked it, his accent, his stance, even what he called a dainty version of a rancher. Brutal words, impossible to walk back. "What the hell does this Brit know about the American West?" Sam fired off during a podcast, his voice dripping with disbelief. The backlash came quick and loud. Fans of Cumberbatch and defenders of the power of the dog lit up social media like wildfire. Critics called Sam a relic, claiming he was stuck in the past, gatekeeping a version of masculinity that no longer fit modern times. But Sam, he didn't blink. He didn't flinch. He sure didn't apologize. He stood firm like an old oak in a lightning storm, unmoved, unbothered, and unapologetically himself. Sam didn't back down, not an inch. He stood firm, calm, but unshakable, like a cowboy staring down a storm rolling straight for him. To him, the power of the dog hadn't just missed the message, it had insulted the entire spirit of the West. He believed the movie glorified weakness, twisted grit into dysfunction, and stripped the Western of its honor, leaving behind something hollow and unrecognizable. This wasn't just a movie critique for Sam Elliott, it was a battle cry. He was defending a way of life built on quiet strength, on scars that told stories, on men who didn't need to explain themselves to anyone. To him, Westerns weren't fiction. They were truth on film. Benedict Cumberbatch didn't hit back publicly, though insiders whispered he was blindsided, even hurt by the sting of Sam's words. Behind studio doors, execs panicked, wondering if they should step in with a polished statement to smooth things over. But Benedict kept his silence. No drama, no clapback, just quiet dignity. Meanwhile, Sam stood tall, refusing to take a single word back. Like a gunfighter who'd already taken 10 paces, turned and fired, he meant every shot. To Sam, the West wasn't a style, it was a sacred code. It demanded honesty, toughness, and respect for the life it represented. He'd spent decades living by that creed, and no actor, no matter how famous or refined, was going to rewrite the meaning of the craft he'd given everything to. But if his shots at Cumberbatch rattled Hollywood, what came next sent aftershocks through every studio boardroom, because Sam's next target was Ashton Kutcher. In Sam's eyes, Kutcher symbolized everything wrong with modern acting. Fame chasing, marketing deals, social media buzz, none of it belonged in the art form Sam loved. Acting, to him, was sacred, something raw, lived in, born out of truth, patience, and experience. Not something you coast through with charm and brand endorsements. Watching Ashton rise from that 70s show to glossy rom-coms and then rebrand himself as a Silicon Valley entrepreneur didn't impress Sam. It irritated him. To him, it looked like someone treating the craft he revered as a side hustle, a playground for image, not art. So when Netflix cast them both in The Ranch, Sam didn't storm off or complain. He showed up like the pro he'd always been, punctual, prepared, and precise. But behind the camera, things weren't smooth, not even close. Crew members noticed the tension right away. Long silences, stiff smiles, and a strange chill in the air. People on set said the energy between them could light up a fuse. Sam's respect for the craft clashed head-on with Kutcher's easygoing charm, and soon everyone could feel it. The cowboy and the tech star, two worlds that were never meant to mix. Sam never threw tantrums or caused scenes. He didn't need to. His disappointment slipped out in quiet murmurs, in the kind of words spoken low but heavy with meaning. "He's a good guy," Sam was once overheard saying, "but he's no actor." It wasn't Kutcher's charm or personality that bothered him. It was what he stood for. To Sam, Ashton symbolized everything broken in the new Hollywood. A world where algorithms replaced instincts, where followers meant more than talent, and where image mattered more than soul. What everyone else called progress, Sam called decay. He saw it as erosion, slow, sneaky, and deadly to what made storytelling pure. In his eyes, real acting was becoming a numbers game, watered down, packaged, and sold for clicks. While audiences gushed over the duo's on-screen chemistry in The Ranch, Sam knew better. It was just performance, not connection. Kutcher, ever diplomatic, praised Sam in interviews, calling him a legend and a mentor. But off-camera, Sam wasn't buying it. "He acts like a guy who learned acting from YouTube," he allegedly muttered to a close friend. That wasn't bitterness, it was principle. Sam wasn't holding a grudge, he was defending a code. He believed in stillness over show, depth over flash, truth over trend. To him, Hollywood had traded authenticity for attention, and that betrayal cut deep. He'd given his life to the craft, and no actor, no influencer, no self-made mogul was going to rewrite what it meant to act. But if his shots at Cumberbatch stirred controversy, what came next would shake Hollywood to its knees, because the next name on Sam Elliott's silent blacklist was none other than Nicolas Cage. Loud, unpredictable, and larger than life, Cage was the total opposite of Sam's style. For Sam, subtlety was sacred. It was the soul of performance. The smallest shift of an eyebrow, a single breath before a line, a pause that said everything without saying a word. That was power. "Great acting doesn't need to shout," Sam once said, and he meant it. To him, true mastery came from restraint, from letting silence carry the story. So when Nicolas Cage burst onto screens with wild eyes, explosive energy, and emotions spilling everywhere, Sam didn't see genius. He saw chaos. To him, Cage wasn't channeling characters. He was performing himself, a one-man circus that burned bright, loud, and fast. Even when they worked together on Ghost Rider, Sam kept things strictly professional. He was courteous, sure, but distant. No warmth, no bonding, no Hollywood buddy moments. In later interviews, Sam never dropped names, but his meaning was clear as glass. He spoke of actors who hijacked the screen with ego, who turned every scene into their own personal theater. "They play bigger, louder, but emptier," he said, his tone cool and cutting. Those close to him didn't need to guess. They knew he was talking about Cage. To a trusted friend, Sam once put it bluntly, "He's more firework than flame, bright, loud, and gone in a second." While Nicolas Cage built a cult following with his unrestrained madness, Sam stayed true to his creed, steady, disciplined, and timeless. In his eyes, the West didn't belong to performers chasing spectacle. It belonged to the ones who could say it all, with just a look. Through all the chaos and noise of modern Hollywood, Sam Elliott never budged. While others chased unpredictability and manic energy, Sam stayed rooted in what mattered most: control, depth, and a slow-burning fire that never went out. He believed that real power in acting came from pulling the audience in close, not blasting them with spectacle. To him, Nicolas Cage represented everything that had gone wrong with cinema. Shock over story, noise over nuance, flash over feeling. What used to be art had turned into performance for the sake of performance. Cage's wild intensity might have won him trophies and glowing reviews, but Sam wasn't fooled, not for a second. In his eyes, no golden statue could mask an empty core. Because for Sam, acting wasn't about noise or virality, it was about truth. The kind of stillness that breathes, the kind of silence that says everything. He believed the best performances didn't scream, they whispered, and the whole room leaned in to listen. Those values made Sam an outlier in an industry obsessed with shock value, but he didn't care. He stood by his principles, even when it meant standing alone. And as his silent feud with Cage faded, another story began, one that cut deeper than any professional rivalry, the quiet unraveling of his friendship with Jeff Bridges. There was a time when Sam Elliott and Jeff Bridges seemed born of the same spirit, two men carved from the same rugged stone. Grounded, soulful, effortlessly commanding without saying much at all. They didn't need loud dialogue or explosive scenes to own the screen. They just were. When they shared the stage in The Big Lebowski, it was magic. Two sides of the same coin, perfectly in sync. Off camera, they laughed, swapped stories, and built a brotherhood forged from mutual respect and a shared belief that simplicity carried its own kind of power. But over time, something changed, not with a bang, but a slow drift. No arguments, no betrayal, just a quiet space that kept growing between them. After Jeff Bridges won his Oscar for Crazy Heart, Sam started noticing the difference. The man who once lived humbly, who let his craft do the talking, began to glow under the spotlight in a new way. Suddenly, Jeff was showing up in glossy magazines, flashing smiles on red carpets, sporting political slogans and giving sleek, media-polished interviews. He became harder to reach, someone close to Sam said, less grounded, more curated. To Sam, it felt like the Jeff he'd known, the one who valued truth over trend, was slowly fading, replaced by the glimmer of Hollywood's machine. That quiet, soulful authenticity they once shared seemed lost beneath the dazzle of fame. It wasn't envy that stung him, it was disappointment. Sam had lived his entire life by a single code. Integrity is the one thing a man can't afford to lose. And watching someone he once called a kindred spirit drift into the Hollywood current felt like watching a piece of that code get washed away. Watching a friend drift away from everything you both once stood for, that cut deep. Deeper than any critic's jab or co-star's slight ever could. In one rare interview, when Sam Elliott was asked about his old collaborators, he gave a short, almost cryptic answer, but everyone understood exactly who he meant. "Some folks change," he said softly. "Others just show who they always were." That one line hit like a quiet thunderclap. And for those who'd followed his journey, it was more than reflection. It was a message, a subtle, unspoken nod to Jeff Bridges. Jeff never clapped back, true to his calm, composed nature, but the silence between them said it all. No public feud, no statements, just distance. The two stopped showing up at the same festivals. They stopped mentioning each other's projects. The brotherhood that once felt carved in stone had simply dissolved. For Sam, the loss wasn't about jealousy or pride, it was about values. He didn't envy Jeff's fame or politics. What stung was the slow erosion of something sacred, the quiet unraveling of trust between two men who had once shared the same code. What had once been a bond built on respect and authenticity had turned into a bittersweet memory, something real that time and fame had quietly stolen away. Insiders close to Sam said he felt abandoned, not betrayed. It wasn't that Jeff had done anything wrong, it was that he'd drifted into a world Sam no longer recognized. That quiet ache, that hollow feeling of losing a brother, never quite left him. Yet even that heartbreak, as heavy as it was, couldn't prepare him for the final name on his list. Because the last person on Sam Elliott's unspoken blacklist wasn't a rival or a friend. It was a symbol of everything he believed had gone wrong in Hollywood. That final name? Jared Leto, the method gone mad. For Sam, Hollywood's greatest sin was never ambition, it was pretension, that overblown self-importance that turns acting into a vanity project instead of storytelling. He believed acting wasn't supposed to demand attention, it was supposed to disappear into truth. So when Jared Leto started making headlines for his so-called method chaos, mailing dead rats to co-stars, refusing to break character, and pushing movie sets to the edge, Sam didn't see genius, he saw a stunt. He wasn't impressed by the Oscar or the media hype that painted Leto as a tortured visionary. To Sam, it was all smoke and mirrors, noise dressed up as art. "That's not talent," Sam reportedly said once. That's theater pretending to be art. And when Sam said something like that, you knew he meant every syllable. Behind closed doors, he was even blunter. "If it takes that much effort for him to act," he told a friend, "maybe he's in the wrong business." For Sam Elliott, true acting didn't need dead rats, strange rituals, or camera-ready chaos. It needed discipline, humility, and respect. The quiet kind of mastery that draws you in without ever raising its voice. He believed the best actors didn't turn their work into a circus. They vanished into it, letting the story, not the performance, take center stage. In a town obsessed with shock value, Sam remained unshakable. While Hollywood celebrated noise, he chose silence. While others performed for cameras, he lived by principle. To him, acting wasn't a gimmick, it was sacred ground. And as the years rolled on, Sam Elliott stood steady as ever. The last cowboy in a town that had forgotten what real storytelling looks like. So if you respect authenticity, grit, and the kind of truth you can feel in your bones, then make sure to like, share, and subscribe to America's Secret, where the real stories still ride strong.